Well, I wanted to take a little time here and show you how you can take the casters and the oil sacs out of these beavers. This is one of the bigger beavers we got. You're going to look right here. You can see the casters are right here along the side. They're the big, harder things you're going to feel right here. The oil sacs are below it. So I like to take the oil sacs out first. And once you figure out where that little crease is, you just make a cut. And you can see that oil sac shows itself. And then you're just going to skin that out like that. And we got that started. So that's the oil sac right there. You can get your fingers in there usually, and you can pull the fat away then, almost like you're skinning any other animal. But once you get, that's a tough one there, it's a bigger beaver. But you can pull that fat off, and as you can see here, that oil sac pops right out, right there. Okay, now I can do that, find that crease on the other side, get that started over there, and you know, when you're doing this, be careful, you don't want to cut them. But we'll get our finger down through there then, and then, so we don't rip it, we'll cut that out through, and that's that. And you can just take that down, then skin just down, and that's gonna get those sacs off right there. So there are the oil sacs. That's how you can take the oil sacs off of the beaver. And we're gonna set them right there. And you can see how big they are. They're actually two really good oil sacs. Now the castor, same thing. I like to come down, get this started right here, and you're gonna skin this out kind of the same way, where you get the fat down off of it, and I get it started over here to where we can get that cut down through and get the fat. Now you'll see them start to open up right there. Now that's your castor. The really cool thing about castor is if you eat raspberry yogurt, you eat a lot of different things on the market, whether it's ice cream, things of that nature, they use these beaver castors for the flavoring. So there's a good chance that you've actually eaten part of the beaver at some point in your life where they use it for the food additives. But you just skin these out just like you would anything else. Get that fat off. And you can use your fingers, get it in there. You can pull that down off. Sometimes you need to get a knife in there to get it started. But you can pull that fat right down off of the castor. And once you do, you're going to see these are two really nice sized castors right here. But we got that fat off. Now there's that one there. That's clean. And then on the back side, we're just going to skin that down right there. Get our thumb in there. Skin that down. And then I'm going to have to get some of that fat off of this side. Get your knife in there. Make a hole. Get your finger in. Start pulling that fat off. But you can see they're a really nice size castor. But this is what we're going to use to make all of our castor lure. I don't sell these. They have up to about a year ago, they were selling for $60, $70, upwards of $80 to $90 a pound for castor, dried castor. And when you think of that, that's a pretty good price. Castor market has got a little flooded now, and it comes down to a supply and demand issue. We have more castor on the market now, so there's not as much demand for it. But you can see that they are now two really nice sized castors, two really nice sized oil sacs. But that's really all it takes to get that off. Now, some people will grind those wet. Well, most people, we're going to let them dry out. You just hang them up on sometimes I remember my dad, he would save all his casters, and he had a little string in this little fur shed, and he'd just hang them up like this. Just hang them there, and then they would dry. And he did that with the oil sacks too. And he would make his own lure for years, as we've showed and talked about before. But it's very simple to take them out. Definitely save those. They're a very valuable part of the beaver. This is beaver. We're in the Adirondacks right now. Eddie's going to use this. He's going to quarter this up. And he's going to use that for his fisher bait on his running poles. And he'll probably grind some of it up as well and make some predator bait out of it, because beaver makes a great predator bait as well. So the beaver is a really good animal that you can get a full use out of, but definitely the casters and the oil sacks are very easy to take off, but definitely save them because there is a great value to them. And as you can see, it's not very hard to take out those particular glands and put them to use while you go out in the field. And that right there is how easy it can be done. There's the two casters and the two oil sacks, and that's pretty much done. We got everything out of there. That's gonna be all you have to do. Pretty much, we got our caster and our oil sacks, and we're good to go. We got them all done on all the beaver. They're all laying over there on the table, and we'll hopefully go out there and check our sets today and have some more. But make sure you use those glands and those oil sacks, because they are definitely something that you want to get out of this beaver. Well, we've shown you how to take the casters out of the beaver with the oil sacks. I've actually already drained the oil sacks. You're just snipping them and squeezing as much out as you can. But here's our caster. We brought all this home. This is exactly what I brought home from the Adirondacks, from the beavers that you saw us catch. With that, I'm using it. It's not dried. I know a lot of people out there think you have to hang your caster up and dry it out till it's bone dry or it's almost dust, and that's just not the case. That's not saying that that caster won't work. I know some of the formulas on the market have used bone dry caster for decades, and it's good lure. But making it with fresh caster is just as good. It's not going to cause any difference out there. So whether you're using wet caster or dry caster, there will be some maybe a little bit of variances of smell. A lot of that's going to be dictated by what else you're putting into it. But ultimately, you don't need to let your caster dry out. So I wanted to solve those questions before I get it. We're using fresh caster. They're a little dry because it's been about a month, but there's still a lot of moisture in them, and we're just going to grind them up into this bucket and move on from there. Grinder does a really nice job, and it's going to give us a good base to make our lure. so we got our castor ground, and as you can see, it was wet. There was a lot of moisture in it, which is fine. That's all gonna smell exactly what we want it to smell like. I'm gonna just get the remnants out of here and put them down in there as well. You can see that we got some remnants here. We don't want to lose any of that good stuff. And all of this stuff is going to have a value in and of itself in the lure. Whether it's a little bit stringy on that one piece there or not, doesn't matter. Get that off. We won't use the one big piece of string, but we want to get all the other stuff off and use that as there. But as you can see, we got a pretty good batch of castor there. That's gonna make us some good beaver lure. Okay, you've got your castor and you're like, how do I make a lure? This is actually the beaver sack oil. We just squeeze them out into this, and it's got its own unique smell, and that's what we're gonna use as an additive to this lure. But you can make this. The only thing you have to do is go catch your own beaver. Once you catch your own beaver, you can take the castor and you can take the oil sacks and you can make your own lure. It's not hard, and it's going to be one of the best lures you could possibly use. It's kind of neat. It's kind of unique. It is what it is. But I'm going to take about an ounce of beaver sack oil. And you can see that's a little darker, but when you squeeze it out, a lot of times it's yellow. This has been in there a while, so it's got a little darkness to it, but that's about all I'm gonna use in this formulation here. And I'm gonna take, actually first, I'm gonna get my castor, and I'm gonna basically put that in there to about 8 ounces worth. That's about 8 ounces, okay? And then I know a lot of people talk about different binders and hosts to do this with, whether it's glycerin, propylene glycol, whatever. What I found, I love mineral oil. I think mineral oil is actually better for a lot of the different lure combinations that you can make out there. I just feel that it acts as a tincturing agent much better than, well, glycerin is pretty good too, but much better than propylene glycol. I don't like propylene glycol. I know there's a lot of guys out there that do, but I'm more on the lines of using mineral oil. I like that the most. And I'm putting in about 12 ounces of mineral oil, 1 ounce of the beaver sack oil, and we're just going to mix that all up now to where you'll see how this formulates and coagulates into a really good lure. I might went a little heavy on the mineral oil, and that's fine. We can thicken that up just by adding a little bit more castor, and that's exactly what we're gonna do. Make sure you have enough castor on the back end to thicken it up. Don't do what I did and put too much oil in, or you're gonna end up having to wait till you catch another beaver. But that's about where we want it now. And this is gonna get better with time. The longer you let this sit, the more it's gonna just draw into that mineral oil, and it's just something that you put in a bottle, put a lid on it. When you pop that lid, it's gonna smell like nothing but beaver. And it's a really good, and I'm gonna smash all this up and really get this down in there, but this right here is a very simple to do recipe, and quite honestly, in the whole grand scheme of things, you can't get much better of a beaver lure than this right here. This is coming together really nice. As you can see, that's just formulated into a really good paste now. And I mean, it's all ready to use. We could literally go out into the field and use this tomorrow and catch beaver. And the biggest thing is just make sure to grind it up, get everything mixed in, and when you go out in the field, just put a little bit of this on your scent mound or near your 330 or near your snare, and you're going to draw them right into it. But that's really all there is to it. Grind up your castor. I use mineral oil, as I said. It's a little more slick. It's less than the glycerin as far as you know, a coagulant. It's more of an oil, and I love it. It's something that is going to be very successful for you when you're in the field, this lure. And the biggest thing is just catching a beaver, grinding up the castor, mix a little bit of the sack oil in there, and you got yourself a winner.
Email us today for a free catalog to browse all of our traps and snares, baits and lures, and much more. Get all of your trapping and predation control needs by emailing to info@NorthAmericanTrapper.com for your free catalog. Proven products equals proven conservation.